Edge. Wait, please don't. Edge and sensitive topics are things people talk about, but for good reasons aren't brought up that much due to discomfort and disgust. However, in the world of writing, topics like these can be used for some really touching stories, or to show a person's broken life or journey. These can work very well in your favor, and there's a lot of good examples for that. But sadly, it doesn't always work for a lot of inexperienced writers. Sometimes they want to put it in as part of a message, but then they fail in delivering that message in the first place, and all comes crashing down. Sometimes they just put it in just to seem mature and serious, but then they lack the actual maturity and tone of the story to legitimize it. But sometimes, only sometimes, they put a lot of it in. Not to tell a message, but to seem as edgy and evil as possible. But what if we go even deeper? What if it's so edgy, so filthy, so disgusting that it sucks? So now that you get my gist, let's get into... So for this video, I want to name 3 games in one series and talk about their fails in trying to be edgy. And also because they're just interesting topics for me to talk about. If this video does well enough, I might even cover more of them. And I'd be happy to have you guys suggest some wannabe edgy media to me. But I'm not gonna talk about any dark web games like Sad Satan or God forbid Fun. If you know or ever suggest this game to me, get off the internet. Now. Other than that, let's get to the first one. That one is...
How much pussy does this motherfucker get? We read 0 pussy, ma'am. Dear God.
Isn't analog horror just peculiar? Around 2022, they started appearing left and right, spanning across various social media, but mostly YouTube, telling stories through lost media, video cassettes, imitating old PSAs, and showing you an alternate reality through familiar old technology is fascinating. There's a lot of very popular examples for analog horrors, but just like everything, we got a stinky creator that everyone knows, but all for all the wrong reasons. So let me introduce you to Urban Spook. Urban Spook is a quirky little horror artist that one day thought, hey, wouldn't it be silly if I turned my art into story, just like Mandela Catalog and the Walter White files? And so he made The Painter. And I think it's best if we just jump into the first episode of it.
Being evil is a full-time job.
Police found 3 spooky paintings correlating to 3 spooky murders. Woman gets stabbed 36 times in the face because 35 weren't enough and gets unteethed. Ooh, spooky painting. Second guy that gets stabbed 27 times in his perineum. Ooh, what's a perineum? Ooh, she was alive when stabbed. Spooky painting. Third guy gets his face torn off and wrist slit open. Oh no, he was alive without a face for several days. Spooky painting. Ooh, more wait, there he is, it's the poster child! Then there's a self-portrait of him. Oh, he's all... red... and sexy. Well, that was quite something. Let's see if it gets better.
Wake up. Evil. All day long. Evil.
Policeman goes missing with his wife and 2 daughters, and there's a paint-brushing swashbuckling killer around. Wowee, I wonder what happens. 2-month-old kid gets turned into a Christmas tree. Spooky painting. Now there's an abandoned lighthouse. Spooky drawing on the door. Charred body of a teenager is found inside. Ooh. Then there's a tunnel that leads to the wife and daughter's bodies. The rest of the family gets turned into a stinky, slimy, meaty broth. Spooky photos. Look, it's Wing D. Gaster.
Yes, it is I, Wing D. Gaster, the royal scientist who fell into his own core because he's a fucking dumbass.
And spooky photo. Look, it's the painting from before. Wow.
Nighttime. Extra evil.
2 11-year-old kids get cut in half and get sewn together in a sloppy style. Wonderful phrasing by the lyrical mastermind that is your band spoof. A brick with the word meat gets shoved down the girl's throat. I wonder if this has a meaning. The boy's genitalia have been ripped off with immense pulling force. Okay, there's nothing more to this episode that's worth it, but hey, let's jump to episode 4. Are you seeing a pattern yet? The entire series is just, what's the worst thing for a person to be killed? And multiply it by 6! And I would really want to tell you that it gets better, but oh, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Thing is, horror stories need more substance than just telling you about the worst thing a human endures. It should also tell you a bit more about establishing the world around it, learning more about the characters you'll meet. And this is just cheap horror flicks. Well, at least I can say that Urban Spook has talent, because I admit that these drawings can be really unsettling at times. I like that. I wish he only stayed as an artist and not a writer. But I like that. Speaking of Urban Spook, who is he as a person? Does he recognize the faults and problems with his series and handles the criticism well? All I have to say to this is just this tweet. Yes, I'm bringing out the Twitter threads already. In this thread on Twitter, popular streamer Pastra, well known for no-hitting absolute radiance in Hollow Knight while listening to Megalovania, argued that analog horror works that focus purely on shock content, like The Painter, are just lazy and cheap. And how do you think Urban Spook, an indie creator with a known internet persona and personal series, responded? Well, he's acting like an actual 15-year-old that yells at his parents to leave his room because he's about to do something morally questionable acts on the internet. Yeah, dropshipping. The way he lashes back is just so immature. What also bothers me is his merch section. Yes, the sort of popular indie horror artist Your Band Spoon has merchandise. And it sucks. It's all just the square paintings slapped onto shirts and hoodies. Not even exclusive artwork, it's all just this. Like, it's not the worst thing you can do with YouTuber merchandise. You can always just stoop as low as Casual44, a German micro YouTuber I used to watch.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy.
What the hell is this? Man, I miss the old stuff. Where did the years go? Nostalgia aside, his merch sucks, the painter sucks, he sucks, I suck, verdict's done. So without further ado, and without any good transition, if there would even be a tasteful one. You know about American tragedies, right? Oh, Jesus. On April 20th, 1999, the Columbine massacre happened. 21 people were injured and 15, including students, teachers, staff, and the two killers, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, were killed. It shocked the entire American population and caused USA to enforce new school rules to make sure something like this never happens again. And then April 20th, 2005, somewhere in Colorado, a man named Danny Ledon made an RPG mecha game based on the shooting, which is the game for this section. The game is, well, an RPG running on a pirated RPG Maker 2000 following the events of the Columbine shooting, involving bit-crushed pictures of the actual shooters and text that melts together. It's just so weird that this game even exists. Like, this is the first game that the creator Ledon has ever done. And it's this. Also, I have to admit, I'm kind of cheating with this one, because it isn't really a game made with the intention to be edgy. According to Ledon, he intended to reserve his discussion about this event, not to be edgy. This will happen again for this video, just letting you know, just need to get it off my chest. So here's another one. I don't know that much about the game. I wish some small YouTube channel smaller than me could tell me more about it.
Hello! I know more. Basically, when Super Columbine Massacre RPG released on April 20th, it also happened to be the 6th anniversary of the massacre at Columbine High School, which, as you can easily expect, and due to the reception of the game being super negative, people were not happy. One father of a victim in the Columbine massacre stated, "Disgusts me. You trivialize the actions of two murderers and the lives of the innocent." However, despite that, a survivor of the Columbine massacre who was greatly injured during it stated, "It probably sounds quite odd for someone like me to say, but I appreciate the fact that at least to some degree, something like this was made." Originally, the identity of Danny Ledon, the creator, was anonymous until he was doxxed for his game and threatened to leak unless he stepped forward as the developer. In 2007, Danny Ledon created the documentary Playing Columbine, which featured over 40 interviews and has a 7.1 rating on IMDb. Danny Ledon is also a black belt. Back to you, Critten.
Sorry for kinda going from silly edginess to school shootings, but that's the way I had to choose. Anyways, let's get back a notch with mood levels, because let's talk about a silly bad game. After you watch this video, you'll probably do something else and forget about it a few days later. You'll likely not see my channel for a while, unless you subscribe, would be really nice of you to do so, and our paths may never cross again. You'll just keep on living your life and my character will fade away from your memory. My video will not be important, my voice will not be important, and most importantly,
my name is not important.
Yo, we're talking about Hatred, baby! Woo! Hatred is a top-down shooter released on the 1st of June 2015 and developed by Destructor Creations. It's not that well known now compared to when it first released, but I bet a lot of you can still quote the first cutscene where he talks about his name not being important. By the way, the protagonist's name is the antagonist. This won't be the only time you can see the edgy face of this game. The plot of the game is you, the antagonist, goes to kill as many people as possible. Of course, because contrary to popular belief, You in fact cannot kill hundreds of people and get away with it. The government is set to kill you. So to counter it, the antagonist acquires composition C plastic explosives and sets them off in a nuclear power plant with themselves in it. He doesn't get to overload the reactor though, as the soldiers arrive and shoot him down. However, as he gets shot down, he detonates the explosives and blows up the entire nuclear power plant, leveling New York City once and for all and killing millions of people. Yeah, this just sounds stupid. According to the devs, the game is a reaction to the trend of political correctness in video games at the time, and wanted to make a game devoid of any politeness, colorfulness, and games as art. It's really funny just reading the Wikipedia page for this, especially the developers defending their shitty game. After the trailer for the game came out and was ridiculed by critics, everyone called them out for the cheap shock content. To which the CEO of Destructive Creations argued that the trailer did its job very well in that case, that the industry's reaction reflected the political correctness and the people who disagreed with it should just not play it. Which is, by the way, a dog shit take. In one interview he said that the dark ambient music and the character's design were intentionally made to be devoid of any joy, and stated, "I don't want to justify anything. I want to make the player ask, why?" He might have been right. Why am I even playing this? Well, in actuality, I got the footage from this video from a dear friend. This is a cry for help, just like earlier with the Columbine massacre simulator. However, due to their PC setup consisting of a very dusty typewriter and a crap maker, it didn't look very good. Let's focus one.
Oh, here we go. Here's the title.
I don't see the title.
Oh, never mind. False alarm.
I hear the audio.
Oh wait, there it is.
Oh my god. Hatred is just kind of funny to me. Next to the painter, it's the perfect, "I'm gonna be so edgy with my blood, my genocide, my mass murder, gory kills. Don't play this if you're no normal person." And you know what makes it even funnier? The guy who wrote all the edgy lines to the protagonist, the antagonist, is called Herr Warcrimer. And if you don't know anything about German, Herr stands for Sir, which means his name is Sir Warcrimer. I couldn't make this up if I tried. Besides being a millions, billions must die shot genocide simulator, the intended aim to be an edgy game just failed. But how? Well, you can't just make a game where you kill as many people as possible under the motto "I hate everyone, they must die," while being called the antagonist instead of protagonist. Try to be as mean as possible, have your title be in the Doom font and think people take you actually seriously. Other edgy games like Postal, which this game was actually inspired of, work because they actually have gameplay that people like. You either need to have a reason for this edge to exist, or if you put edge like this in with no reason, make at least the game good. Now, to be more fair towards This Is a Cry for Help from earlier, because they gave me the recording for Hatred, I'm gonna have them talk about this game too. So what do you think?
It's a piece of fucking shit!
This game is just one of those internet accounts of teens that have "I boil furries alive, long live the Brotherhood of Steel" in their bio, and watch animations about furries getting killed by Warhammer characters, preferably from my favorite channel, Major Clue, who definitely doesn't. Anywho, this rounds up the discussion about Hatred. It's kind of a funny thing, but really just devs trying to justify clearly edgy game with no purpose. But let's get to the last one, and oh boy, have I waited long for this one. So let's get into this one. This game that we're gonna talk about is an indie top-down RPG game that released to a big audience of people. Now, a lot of people on the internet gave this game a lot of hate, and still the game is setting an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam, and has touched many players with its story about damaged people and its focus being on the protagonist with his special bond with his sister. And this game's title is, well, actually, you've probably seen the thumbnail. Yeah, it's Coffin of Edgy and Leyley. Yeah, I misguided you, didn't I? Using Omori footage to take you on the wrong path. Which, by the way, I'm likely never gonna talk about this game again, because I don't think it's worth enough its own video. But Omori is good. It's really good. It's a decent game with great music, charming graphics, and the story, while having some issues, is solid. The hate that it got is probably Twitter's fault, and also the existence of its creator Omocat. And like, to be honest, I don't blame you. I wouldn't trust her with my firstborn child and her shenanigans that much. And the existence of the recently released Omori manga doesn't make it better. Like, it looks good, but you think about the art style for more than a second and just think, you know, I don't want to jump the gun to any accusations, but I'd really like to check this guy's browser history. Anyways, let's get back to the Coffin game. This game released on the 13th of October of 2023, and you know what? I think you already know what this game is like. It's the weird cannibalism fetish game. I never really understood cannibalism as a form of love. Like, first, I don't want to eat someone I love. Like, I wouldn't be able to love anyone that's broad now. And second, what if I'm just hungry? What if I just want to eat people? Now for the summary, this game is about Ashley and Andrew, locked in their apartment due to a parasite being in water, and due to having no rations in their apartment anymore, they decide to eat their next door neighbor who passed during the lockdown. Oh, also satanic rituals are there too, I guess. After that, they break out of their home to raid their parents' home, and due to a satanic ritual, they have to sacrifice their own parents and eat them too. Honestly, if I had to eat another human being because I would have almost starved to death, the first thing I'd do if I raided my parents' home is raid the kitchen first, then ask questions. One funny thing about their parents is that the mother has dialogue boxes and dialogue sprites, but the father has nothing. No dialogue, no text, and probably no personality because this guy speaks in ellipses. Get the fuck out of my palace! I've been told it's because the dad is a coward, but I think it's just been dealt a bad hand. But with your help, we can change that. So then you two turn your parents into a broth. Ashley makes a comment about having their mother's eye in their soup. Oh my god, what did I get myself into? And later in the game, there's a dream sequence in which you're tasked to connect two things with each other. One of them you get eaten by Ashley, but in the other, more infamous one, and you probably already know about it, this happens. You think God stays in heaven because he's too afraid of the things he created. I just don't get it, man. I've watched a playthrough of the game to get more info on it instead of buying the game and playing it for myself, but I will say this. I believe that to a degree everyone can enjoy whatever they want, and it counts for this game too. But here I have to only say two things. First, are you an only child? And second, why do you like it? Because I know that if the fans talk to other people about their interests and then have to explain why they like the Coffin of fuck shit and fuck off.
It's called Brother Sister?
That's awesome. And what is that about? Like a brother-sister crime-fighting duo?
It's about a brother and a sister that fuck.
I just really love this clip, by the way. He looks like he's going to be shot after this. Really, I looked through this whole walkthrough, and I just don't personally understand what is there to like. It's kinda like me looking for my point of life. There is none. Like, if we're talking characters, I don't like any of them. Andrew is a bad person and lets Ashley do whatever she wants and caves under her pressure like a popsicle stick bridge and never goes, you know what, I'm not gonna do this with you anymore. Oh, and don't get me started on her. She's obsessing over Andrew to the point that she's harassed his previous ex-girlfriend so that she left him and locked away a young girl with asthma in her chest just so that she couldn't get into the way between them, and she fucking died. Binding of Isaac reference. I don't know if they want to do a misery loves company thing with both of them becoming fugitives by the law, and well, God, because their relationship is basically, Andrew, don't you dare leave me, you should be the only one in my life and you'll be worthless without me and I'll guilt trip you into staying with me until I die. I don't even know if it's a fetish game, because as a comparison, Boyfriend to Death is stated to be straight up just horror pornography, which by the way, I will never talk about this game again, but I will mention this. You see this character? Yeah? Furry Lazarus. Yeah, guess you didn't see that one coming, didn't you, atheists? Alright, I'm going off track again. I really don't see the message they want to do. I'm not gonna dog on any fans, let them enjoy whatever it is in this, like, nothing burger. But the characters are unlikable, the writing is strange, the message tells something no one would ever want to follow. The story, while awful, could probably be used for something way better, but I don't really see a way out of here. I'd really like to learn more about the creator and why they made this, but that won't be happening anytime soon because half a year ago they've been doxxed and had to leave the development to their dev team. Now this game might be ass, but even something as revolting as the Coffin of Andy and Leyley doesn't deserve someone getting doxxed over it, like Danny Ledon. You shouldn't dox anyone for posting pure dog shit. That would be worse than writing this. However, I will give the dev team this one thing. I like the art style. Now wait a second, that's the only thing I like. It's in the same boat as Urban Spook, as in the creators having a really good art style, but for God's sake, don't let them write a story. And surprisingly, and I figured this out with the help of This Is a Cry for Help, if the Super Columbine Massacre game wasn't based on a real shooting that took place, it would be in the same boat as this game. I just don't get it, man. They're still working on the chapters after this, and man, I really hope it doesn't get worse. Like, what could there be after this that would be worse? But in a way, I'm disgustingly revoltedly excited. Like, I would want to see how this dumpster fire develops. I don't know, man. I really need a minute. All of this hot garbage with difficult to understand motives, strange tales, and fucked up mores just messing with me. Why? Why do these games exist? Isn't there any soul left in this world? I need a break. Let's calm this down. I don't want to end up like the hi-fi video again. So let's put up some nice music and get off this together. There we go. We have seen so many examples of how to fuck up with something in an art form. So let's leave with this one. Let's leave on this note. We can endlessly try to get answers on the whys and hows, and push the devs into giving us answers, but chances are we would not understand exactly why they made it. So our best choice is just to leave it be. It's better to leave things you don't understand as they are, since it's absolutely fine to say, I don't really care about this, to something you can't make an opinion on. You might not get an answer, but you won't stress yourself to find a reason why. And in an ironic way, each of these things have an unintentional lesson to be learned from. Urban Spooks the Painter is about an internet artist thinking that he could create anything in his little echo chamber of horror and expect it to succeed. But he failed to understand that not everyone will always like what you make, and that being respectful gets you further. Super Columbine Massacre RPG is about a talented man seeking to preserve a moment in history in a way that to some people hit a little bit too close to heart, and in a very poor taste as well. Hatred is basically just people hating on what's basically a 13-year-old on Twitter calling you slurs, but in a way it teaches us what to avoid when creating an edgy character story. And for the Coffin of Edgy and Leyley, forget that one. All I want to say is, I recommend you don't think too much about these games. They're not worth making pin boards filled with red yarn and photos on a Friday night with them. Well, other than that, this video is now over. Go follow my new second channel, Network. I'm planning to turn this channel to solely video essays or scripted videos, and have that one full of smaller videos or slop on them. And don't worry, the next video will be more cheerful. Maybe about Psychonauts 2, Risk of Rain 2, or even Will Wood, but I'm not sure about it yet. Oh yeah, and go check out my friend This Is a Cry for Help. They were really helping me with the Super Columbine Massacre RPG. Well, that's it. Love you and goodbye.
No, I know that sounds bad.